If you're watching this, I'm guessing your stomach's been in knots for a while. Maybe you're thinking, I don't want a war, I just want a plan. And if you have kids, it's even heavier because you're not just ending a marriage. You're trying to protect your children's peace while figuring out what comes next. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to break down what I mean when I say amicable divorce here in Florida and what I don't mean. I'm also going to try and answer some of the most common questions I hear, because a lot of people hear amicable and they think it means easy or everyone agrees. That's not real life. I'm Ana Augusto, a family law attorney in Miami. My work is built around one core idea. You can handle divorce with strategy and structure without pouring gasoline on the fire. My goal is to help you move forward with dignity, protect what matters most, and keep the temperature as low as possible, especially when kids and long-term finances are involved. Just know this is general information for Florida. It's not legal advice, and it's not a substitute for talking with a lawyer about your specific situation. Every family is different. What amicable divorce really means. First, amicable divorce isn't a legal term in Florida. There's no checkbox for it on the court form. It's a strategy. It's a choice about how you want to approach this process. When I say amicable divorce, here's what I mean. We aim to resolve your divorce as uncontested as much as we realistically can. That usually means working toward an agreement instead of turning every issue into a courtroom fight. It means we focus on solutions that are fair, workable, and built to last. Not dramatic, not performative, and definitely not about revenge. Amicable doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're letting someone get away with something. It means you're being intentional, because the truth is blown litigation almost always costs more, takes longer, and creates more emotional damage than most people expect. The three commitments that make amicable possible. An amicable approach works best when three things are true. Listen to these carefully. They're your quick check to see if amicable can work for you. Number one, a shared goal. The goal isn't I want to crush the other person. The goal is I want this handled with as little damage as possible. People who do well with an amicable process want to move forward. They want stability, clarity, and a result that lets them live their life and co-parent if they have kids without staying stuck in conflict for years. Number two, a realistic mindset. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. Amicable divorce is about fair and livable, not perfect. In divorce, you don't always get everything you want. You're often choosing between two imperfect options. The people who stay calm and get to the finish line understand this. Sometimes you give up something to gain something. You might give up the fantasy of the exact outcome I deserve to gain peace, time, privacy, and financial stability. But here's the flip side, and this is just as important. Don't give up everything just to make it stop. I see this a lot. Someone's so exhausted by the stress that they'll agree to anything just to get through it. And I get it, the emotional weight is real. But what feels like peace today can create real problems down the road. Resentment builds, finances don't work, and sometimes you end up right back in front of a judge trying to fix what should have been handled right the first time. Fair doesn't mean giving in. It means making decisions you can actually live with long term. And number three, behavior that keeps the temperature down. You can disagree, but you can't turn every disagreement into a war. That means less emotional negotiating by text, less threatening, less trying to win every conversation. When communication becomes a battlefield, the process gets expensive and exhausting. And if you have kids, it usually spills over onto them. What amicable is not. Let's be clear about what amicable divorce is not. It doesn't mean that you agree on everything. It doesn't mean you won't feel emotional. It doesn't mean the other person will always cooperate. And it definitely doesn't mean that you're handing over your rights. It simply means we start with a predictable path, we use tools that reduce conflict, and make decisions that are meant to hold over time, not just feel good in the moment. A calm fit check. Here's a simple gut check. If you're a good candidate for amicable approach, you'll usually see yourself in at least a couple of these. You want this over more than you want to win. You can tolerate fair and livable instead of perfect. You're willing to focus on priorities, what matters most, instead of fighting for every single issue. And you're able to exchange information and negotiate without constant escalation. But if you're dealing with a situation where one person wants payback or refuses transparency, or there's a gap between positions sometimes that feels like an ocean. That doesn't mean that you're doomed. It just means we may need different approach. And I'll say this clearly. If there are safety concerns, intimidation, or threats, we handle that differently. The goal is always to protect you and your children first. A lot of people think that there are only two options. We agree or we go to court. Real life is usually more of a spectrum. On one end, you have amicable negotiations, working toward an uncontested agreement through a structured process and steady communication. Then you have mediation, a structured setting where both sides work through issues with a neutral third party. Then there's collaborative divorce, a more formal, professional, team-based approach that can be very helpful for families who want strong structure and support while staying out of court. And then on the far end, you have litigation, which is sometimes necessary when cooperation breaks down or where the issues can be bridged through agreement-focused methods. When I say amicable, I'm not pretending the other options don't exist. I'm saying we start with the predictable path and we stay realistic about what to do if cooperation stops. So, what does success look like in an amicable divorce? Success isn't I got everything I wanted. Success is a workable agreement you can live with. Clear parenting structure if you have kids. Financial clarity so you're not blindsided later. Clear timelines and next steps so you're not living in limbo. And a process that reduces conflict because conflict is expensive emotionally and financially. And here's something I always tell my clients. The agreement needs to be done right from the beginning. Because if you need to change something later, a modification, the standard is higher. It's harder. It costs more. So we build it to last the first time. That's the goal. If you're a parent, success also looks like protecting your children's routines and stability as much as possible. Not perfection, stability. And here's something most people don't realize. When you focus on what you want, you can actually control the outcome. If you go to court, the judge has to follow what the law says. But when you negotiate, you have more say in what your future looks like. That's a big deal. How we approach amicable divorce at Augusto Law. At Augusto Law, our approach is built around calm experience and clear structure. We don't inflame situations for drama. We keep things focused because escalation gets expensive fast. We set expectations and timelines because uncertainty is one of the biggest sources of anxiety in divorce. And we bring you back to your priorities again and again so that decisions don't get hijacked by emotions in the moment. A steady process requires steady communication from us. My team provides timely updates. At minimum, you'll hear from us weekly. And when things are moving fast, it may be daily. You're not going to be stuck wondering, did anything happen this week? And you're definitely not going to hear about your case first from your soon-to-be ex. That's our commitment. And I want you to hear this. You're not alone in this. We've helped many people in your situation. Our job is to take a hard season and make it more manageable by giving you a predictable path. In your strategy session, we'll take what you heard here and apply it to your facts, your goals, your concerns, your family dynamics, and the realities you're working with. We'll talk through what path fits best and what a calm, realistic next step looks like for you. Before we meet, watch the rest of the short prep package so we don't spend your time on the basic FAQs. And if you can, reply with one sentence. What matters most right now? Your kids, finances, speed, peace, or something else? That one sentence helps us prepare and makes your strategy session far more useful.